Hi, hi everyone. So in this series of videos, we are going to check out Spring Security for a Spring Boot application. So this will be a video series. Uh, it will be mostly I think it will be going for with four videos. So in the first video, we are going to create first. We have four steps. First, we are going to create a Spring Boot application, so which will have some basic controllers and which are going to return some responses and we are going to retrieve that as a display in as HTML, and then we are going to add Spring Security to our class path and see the default authentication authorization mechanism. So this is the first part, and the second step we are going to do in-memory authentication and authorization before connecting our application to a database. So we are going to do we are going to store our user details in memory, and and we are going to configure Spring Security for it. So this is second step, and after that we are going to connect our application to a database and do a JDBC authentication and authorization. So over here we can write our custom tables, and can have your user tables and custom columns, and you can have we'll also do authorization based on and create a authorization table and use the authorization and stuff as well. So this is this JDBC authentication. The last step, we'll create a custom. We remove in-memory authentication, JDBC authentication, and we'll write a custom service. So what it does is it manages our custom user table and also the authority table. So so this gives us flexibility to uh, to do the authentications. I mean, we can give the what we can send the Spring Securities the information which we need. So this allows us to do more. This gives us a more flexibility. These are the four steps. So in this video, I'm going to start with this first step. Know what we should do here, so you can skip to the next videos where we do the number authentication, or if you know this you can skip to JDBC authentication, and if you already know this you can skip to this custom service where we create our custom tables and user tables and author tables and configure Spring Security for it to do the authentication and authorization. Yeah, so yeah, let us get started with this. So for that, first I'm going to go to Spring initializer. So I'm going to open a new tab, Spring starter.io. I'm going to go to this method, and over here I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to use Gradle as my dependency management tool. Java Spring Boot 3.2.4, it's okay, and I'm going to name it as identity manager. Since it gonna do the authentication and authorization, I'm going to name these 17 is fine. And dependencies, I'm going to add Spring Web, and also I'm planning to use MySQL, so I'm going to need a MySQL driver as well. Yeah, and also Lombok as well. I need Lombok as well. And also I need JPA Spring Data JPA. Yeah, I will add this for the time being. And Spring Security, we're gonna configure it after we do the after we create a basic Spring Boot project. So I think uh, we got our Spring Boot applications main. Java. If you go to this is our main method. This is where the application starts from. Okay, yeah. Now we have our application. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a controller, data from the controller methods, and I'm going to show it in the URL. So when user requests the URL, they're going to show this, show the content of it. So what for that? Okay, for that what we shall do is first we'll create an entity. Okay, I'm going to create an entity. Entities I'm going to create. So I'm going to create a table called movies. So in this movies, will have the movie name and this description, these details, and we are going to show this um, in the display. So we have this created class, and we gonna create an primary key for it, and which name it as ID, and next field movie name, and I'm going to write one other thing, description. Yeah, I think this should be fine. This I'm going to annotate as it is such that Spring Boot knows it is a primary key, and I'm going to generate value. I'm going to use a strategy as identity, and I'm going to specify this as class as entity such that Spring Boot knows this as entity. Yeah, this we have these classes, and next we created the class. Next, I'm going to create a controller. Okay, I'm going to create a controller package first, and under this I'm going to create a class movie controller. Yeah, I think this will be fine, and this we can annotate with controller annotation. Okay, and I'm going to create a method, and I'm going to use get mapping method, get mapping annotation, and return a view. So I'm going to name it as get movies. Okay, I'm going to associate this with the get mapping. So the URL should be get movies. I think this should be fine. I'm going to create a model object, model view object new. Yeah, yeah. So what we shall do is I have created a model and view object, and to this model and view object I'm going to set a view. So the view can be a JS. So I'm going to create an HTML file. So I'm going to so when we return this model and view object, that HTML file will be displayed. So I'm going to name the view as movies page. Yeah, and to this movies page I'm going to add some content. So I'm going to add movies list. Yeah, I'm going to add this object to that. For that I need to have a list of movies first. So list of movies, list, uh, array list. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Movies list. Yeah. So what I have done is I have created a method and associated with a get mapping with this URL. So when user request on this URL, it will be coming to this method over here. I'm getting the bunch of movies. For now it is an empty list, and I'm going to add it to our model and view object. So to this model view object, I have specified the view. This I'm going to create an HTML file in resources.template folder. For this, I'm going to use timelift template, and also I have added to this view. I have added this movies list. so that it will get this movies list and show it in a table format in this HTML file. So first we need a bunch of movies. For that I'm going to create a service, and we in the service we are going to hard code some movie names and return it. Yeah, Java class movie service here. It should be fine. I'm going to annotate with this service. So in this pane, I will add a field called list of movie. Yeah, do this, and I'm going to add a method to return this movies list. Get movie list, and we need to set this movie list. Okay, and let me create a method public movies generate movie list. So here I'm going to generate a dummy movie list. So I'm going to loop through here. I'm going to loop from 0 to 100, and after that I'm going to map. This will take an integer, and, and over here I'm going to build my movie object. Before that, let me add builder. I'm going to use this builder annotation to get the builders. I'm also going to set all these things which I need, not service setter, and, yeah, and also a no argument constructor and all argument constructor. I think they should be fine. Now let us go back to service over here. Dot builder dot this movie name I'm going to use movie colon and concatenate with this integer dot description description plus I, yeah, description. And we want to need to set the ID as well. ID is going to set this I, and I'm going to build this. Yeah, now I think it should be fine. And now let us collect this movie objects as a list and return this. Okay, so what I have done is I have created a dummy method to create a bunch of movies. So this will give us some movies, movie one, movie two, this in that fashion. So this method I'm going to annotate with this post construct. So yeah, we know post construct, right? Post construct, this will be called only once. So when this movie service bean got initialized and all its if the, we didn't have any properties, but after all properties has been set to a bean, um, a post construct method will be called. So during a bean life cycle, during initialization, initialization means the creation of bean, and also destruction. Destruction means removing a bean from application context. So Spring Boot provides some hooks or a callback methods, which will get called after bean got initialized and all its properties got set. So there are two types of bean initialization checks. So one is initialization callbacks and other is destruction callbacks, I guess. So initialization callbacks, this is post construct. So after a bean is initialized and properties has been set, we'll get a callback. So this is one of the way methods with annotated with post construct will get called after a bean is initialized. And also we can also implement an interface that is initializing bean interface something, yeah. So we can also use that to get a callback after being initialized. And also similar to this initialization callbacks, we also have destruction callbacks like pre-destroy and these things, yeah. So for this I'm going to use post construct, so that we'll get this movies list during the startup. So over here I'm going to auto write our movie service bean, yeah, movie service, yeah, auto write here, and I'm going to return that dot get movie list. I think this should be fine. And then let us return this. You have to return a model and view object. And I'm going to create this movies page. Before that, I'm going. Yeah, I think we didn't have time leaf dependency. Yeah, yeah. And before that, let us do one thing. Since Spring Security configurations has been changed from 2x to 3x, first, there is a slight difference, not much, but let us do it for Spring Boot 2.62x. I'm going to use 2.6.2, and I'm going to use this dependency management tool. I have noted down this version name such that I won't forget it. Yeah, so we are going to first do the Spring Boot security configuration for 2x, and then we're going to check out for 3x. I think that should be fine. And I have to add the Spring Boot starter time lift dependency. So since I didn't remember the group ID and artifact ID, let me search it. Spring Boot starter time leaf Maven Central. So in Maven Central, we can see the artifact ID and these things. I'm going to open some random. I'm going to go to Gerdel short. I can see the implementation. I'm going to come here and copy this and remove this version. So let Spring Boot version decide what version to take. So and reload such that it download the dependencies. And now I'm going to create a new HTML file. So this should match with the view name which we have set in the controller. Yeah, movie details. So I think it matches movies page, yeah, the name matters. So by default it has created a basic skeleton of HTML. So here we have doc type which declares that this is HTML5 document, and then we have opening of HTML tag, and under this we have a head and body. In head we basically configure metadata, and also we have the title of the document, and this is where our main content goes in body. Okay, yeah. I'm going to use some going to use a namespace, XML namespaces. I'm going to use time reference. So I need to get the time leaf namespace. So since I'm going to use some functions of time leaf namespaces, so I want to configure this. Yep, this URL time leaf. It is not suggesting anything. Let us go to Google time leaf.org. Yeah, I think this is the one we need. This URL. Yeah. Yeah, let us come here and paste it here. Yeah, we have this time lift dependency. We have added this time lift namespace. Sorry. Then we'll create a table, and under this we're going to create a head. In head, let us give our column names. H. Yeah. First, let us give ID, and yeah, I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to give movie name and movie description. I think this should be fine. Then I'm going to create a body, and over here I'm going to use this. Oh, yeah, and over here, since to this view we have been adding this movies list, so this will contain the list of movies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop. I'm going to use a time leaf function, and I'm going to loop through this movies list attribute. Yeah, movie. Yeah, yeah. Our list name is movies list. Let's copy this. Yeah, and now we are looping through this, and over here for each movie I'm going to create a row. T, yeah, I think it's T T. Yeah, yeah, TD. Yeah, and for each movies I'm going to create, and here as well I'm going to use text function of time leaf attribute. Over here, I need to queue. So I'm going to use this movie object to get the ID. And similarly, so here I'm getting the ID, so we have to make sure, since I'm going to be using the getter method, how to make sure I have this ID methods over here. So I need this movie name. Yeah, so get, yeah, this will be the getter, and description. Yeah, yeah, I think this three should be fine. We have created everything. Yeah, I think this should be fine, and yeah, and also, yeah, and I'm going to go through this. Yeah, since we have updated the Spring Boot version, this no longer is in JavaX. Yeah, no longer is in the Jakarta. It is moved to it is in JavaX. Yeah, we have to update this again. Yeah, yeah, controller as well. You require type view. Okay. Uh, okay, view name. Yeah, you have to use this view name such that it will go to this HTML file. If you want to give the view, we have to give the view object itself. Yeah, this page. Let us make sure that it matches with this. Yeah, yeah, movies page. Sorry, it should match with this. Yeah, it matches with this. Yeah, now what I have created is, now I have a controller which gives me a bunch of movies, and it is in this format. I have this returns a table and gives us this moves list. Yeah, and also, yeah, now let us start our application, and let us see what we got till now. Yeah, this as well we need to change. Yeah, let us return this. Yeah, okay, yeah. Since we have updated the Spring Boot version, we have to update this as well. Yeah, I'm going to implementation of going to implement get this MySQL connector, which is supported for Spring Boot 2x. Yeah, it is Java in this, and I'm going to reload this such that it downloads the new dependency. I'm going to restart. Again, errors. Why it is angry? Application failed to start. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, since we have added Spring Data JPA, we need to create. We need to give our driver names, and also we need to give our database server name, server port, and also database names, so that it can create a connection with the database. For that, we'll use the property binding mechanism to bind some of the values to the data source properties. So I'll show you. So Spring Boot, Spring Security has this, not Spring Security, Spring Data GP has this class called data source properties. Over there, we have this object will be used when they are when Spring Data JB we are going to create a data source pin. So while creating a data source pin, this data source property object will be passed to that, and using this field values, it is going to create the data source. So we are going to override certain fields under these. First, we are going to override driver class name. Yeah, dot driver class name. Since it is camel class, we need to replace it with this one. Yeah, name. Yeah, I think this should be fine. And this, we need to give the driver class name. So in my case, I'm going to use MySQL. So I'm going to search for MySQL driver class name. Yeah, yeah. This is an old one. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. This is the new driver class type message shows. I'm going to get over here, and then the next property is we need to set this URL. Yeah, what is URL? Yeah, let us see what is URL. Spring data says that URL. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm going to do is, since here I'm going to use JDBC API to connect my application to the database. So as we know, when we want to create a JDBC connection, so normally we do this. We create a connection uh, object. We use the driver manager dot get connection method. So over here, we basically specify the URL, username, and password. So when we override this, it gonna internally string, it gonna use this URLs and password and username, which we gonna override later, and to create a connection. So what does goes into this URL? Into this URL, we're gonna specify the API which we are using. In my case, I'm using JDBC, and I'm going to, and also followed by database name. In my case, it is MySQL, and followed by database server name. In my case, it is localhost, and I'm going to run on my default port 3306, and followed by database name. So I'm going to, what shall be identity. I think we should be fine. Yeah, identity. Now we have given the URL, and we need to give the username and password here. Spring data JP data source. Next, we are going to bind username. Yeah, username. I'm going to use root. I'm going to specify it as root when I create the data. My This is my MySQL database username and also password. Yeah, password in my case. Yeah, yeah. We these three will be used for this. Yeah, and also yeah, we need, and also I'm going to overwrite some data Spring JP properties. So the property is to configure the dialect of the Hypernet. So I'm going to search for first of all, and then explain Spring Jetta Spring JPA Hypernet dialect application prop. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I think, yeah. So in my case, it is MySQL dialect. MySQL Just- Yeah, wait. Hibernate. .mysql direct. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, this is direct. Yeah, what does this direct does is when Hibernate communicates with the database, this gonna specify that the queries or commands issued by the Hibernate is in the SQL format, which can be understood by my SQL database. So I'm going to use for that. I'm going to use this, and also I'm going to overwrite other data JPA, other JPA property, which is DDL auto. Didn't remember the exact placeholder name. Spring data JPA properties. Yeah, yeah. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah. So this takes bunch of values. This is enough. So this takes bunch of values. It has create drop. It can take update. It can take validate, and also by default it will be none. So default. So Spring Data JPA. So this is a data definition configuration. So data definition level configuration, and also what it does is based on this configuration, we gonna tell the strategy to contact to communicate with to not communicate to create tables or destroy tables based on strategy. So if it is a create strategy, it is gonna create the tables under the database which we specified using the classes which has been annotated with this dot at the right entity. So that's how it gonna create it, and during the service startup it gonna create tables, and when we shut down the service it not gonna do anything. So whereas create drop, what does it does is it gonna create does the same. It gonna creates the tables while service startup, and but the difference is during the service shutdown it gonna remove all the tables under that. So this is the difference between that, and this is update. So what it does is it compares the tables which are in the schema, which are in the database, present in the database, with the entities skeleton which is specified over here, and if there is any difference, it gonna update the database. So suppose if we have added a new column in this entity, so it gonna find the difference and update it in our database. It not gonna remove the data, it just gonna add the new column. So the validate, what it does is it does the same. It also compares the this movie, this table entities in our code with the one in database, and if there is any difference, it not gonna let application to start. It will fail the application startup, and this is none. By default it will be none. What it tells us, it not gonna touch creation of or destruction or removing of a database schema. We have to manually do that. So for now I'm going to use create first. Now then yeah, I think this property should be fine. Yeah, yeah. Now let us do a search startup again. Why it is showing this MySQL. What is this URL? Have specified URL. What does it need? Database, MySQL, identity. Yeah, okay. We need to create this database first. For that, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go login. Yeah, root. Now I'm going to give the password. Now here, create database identity, and copy this and paste this. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it has been created. Now let us check the databases. Yeah, databases. Yeah, yeah, we have our identity, and now I'm using this db where workbench to connect with the database. So meanwhile, let us restart our application. Idea invitation. Wait is angry. I failed to determine suitable ADBC data source. Sorry, yeah, Spring data source. We are going to bind the Spring data source properties. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, now we are done. Yeah, now I am going to start the application. Yeah, everything is done, and also I'm going to connect to the new database. I'm going to create a connection. I'm going to use MySQL since it is a MySQL database. Identity. Yeah, these are and I'm going to specified test connection. Yeah, okay, finish. And now we can see some tables under this. We have our movie table. Since we have used create, we can see that movie table. Yeah. Now I have started. Now let us go to our URL movies dot get movies. Yes. Yeah. This is yeah. This is our URL. Mm, okay, it was showing invalid. Seems like there is some error. Okay, I think seems like there is an error in this iteration. What happened is since we haven't specified the class path, we haven't specified our class path to time if it's not gonna know where our templates have been stored. Yeah, we have specified. Yeah, now let us restart the application. Think since I think we already have this. Yeah. Yeah, man. What is this? I skipped the part where we have been debugging. So yeah, this is the problem. So here, previously have a return statement. I am not configuring this. Due to this, it is going to null. I'm going to use this as void. And also, a post construct method can have any type of accessor, except it can have any type of access level, but it can't be a static. Yeah, this thing. Yeah, now let us restart. It should work fine now. Yeah, hoping that it'll work fine. Yeah. Now we have got the movies. I've skipped the where I was debugging. There was some extra calibrations over here, so I need to remove that. Yeah. Now we have an application. We have a controller where which returns us the bunch of movies, and we can show here. So now, since we have a Spring Boot application with a controller, now I'm going to add Spring Security. Yeah, implementation. Yeah, should be. We should only change this test to security. I think they should be fine. Reload our dependent credentials, etc. Downloads the new dependencies. Yeah, let us restart it. Yeah, now let us go and reload this. Yeah, we can see, right? Yeah, now we have a page, but somehow we have been redirected to this login page. Yeah, yeah, we don't know. So after we have added our Spring Security dependency to our class path, so by default it will do two things. So it's gonna add a login page, and it's gonna add a logout page. Yeah, it's gonna add a logout page, and also yeah, it's gonna add these two things, and also it's gonna add a authentication logic. It's gonna take username and password, and it's gonna do the authentication whether the username and password matches or not. But we don't know what the user is. By default, Spring Security username is user, And password, we can find these in application logs. In application logs, it will be printed over here using this for the using generated password. You can copy this, and if you paste it over here and replace this and click on sign in. Now we have been here. Now let us go to our get movies. Now we have been on get movies. Now just copy this. Now if I go to logout, and if I click on logout, and if I after logging out, if I try to load this get movies, it's gonna redirect me to this login page. Yeah, so by default, Spring Security out of the box, it gonna add some default authentication and for default authentication logic. So yeah, how does Spring Security does this? Yeah, Spring Security uses a concept called filters. Yeah, so what is a filter? Yeah, what is a filter? Yeah, filters are used to intercept a calls to a servlet. So yeah, we know servlet, right? We can have well, yes, any Spring Boot application will have a servlet. So what runs under the hood is servlet. So servlet is the one which basically does the work, and all our frameworks, and we have been creating on top of it. And servlet. So let me, yeah, suppose when a user requests something on a URL, so it gonna redirect to the specific URL which does that work. So a servlet is associated with the URL. So before that, before reaching any request to the servlet, um, the calls, every call will get intercepted by our filter. So before it reaches our servlet, yeah, every request is gonna be intercepted by filter. So not this. Yeah, I'm just trying something. Yeah, so yeah, whenever we get a request, any server request, we're gonna intercept, and after it intercept, there is a method called do filter, and after that processing is done, it gonna let the request pass through this and gonna go to the respective servlet. So this basically a filter works outside the Spring MVC. In Spring MVC, we have servlets. So what does it do is basically our Spring Security also creates a bunch of filters. So using this filter, Spring Security adds some Spring Security related filters. So what does it filter do? Spring Security filters do it intercepts the solver request, and also it does authentication, and it also does the authorization that we have to configure it. Yeah, it uh, here I have specified as one filter, but Spring Security by default it adds bunch of filters for each use case: username authentication filter, and also an authorization filter, and many more. We can also see that filters printed over here. Spring Security, we should be seeing here somewhere. Filter in logs. Yeah, this is the one. I'm going to open a notepad. Yeah, this is a log printed by Spring Security. Here we can see will secure request with. Yeah, over here it is I have added a web hashing manager, security header, and logout filter, and cross security functional filter, logout basic. Yeah, this is a basic authentication filter, and also we should have one more authentication filter. Yeah, a username password authentication filter. Yeah, so by default, Spring Security adds all these filters to our applications. As we have added Spring Security to our class path, this filters also gets added to our class path. So when we are doing this uh, application startup, this means this filters gonna be beans gonna be initialized, and when we send any authentication or authorization request, this filter is gonna intercept and does their own logic. This does the authentication logic. And I will also show how I will also create a filter and show you how it intercepts so that you can have better understanding. I'll create a new package and I will have a filter. This filter will have a new class, text filter. So here I need to implement it is an interface filter, yeah, from Java Servlet, and we have to implement all the non-default methods. So here I'm only going to implement this. Yeah, since these two are default methods, we can it will only ask us by default. It will only ask us to return this one, and I'm going to call this super off. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to log something. Yeah, dot println reached filter. So I'm going to put a breakpoint over here. I'm going to unmute this. I'm going to rerun this and compile this again. Yeah, and I'm going to remove this debug points here as well. Now I'm going to go and reload this, and over here I'm going to click on sign in. Yeah, back credentials, username. We have to get the password. Yeah, we got the password. Now we have been signed in. We have to go to the get movies URL. Yeah, we have been in URL filter. Yeah, why? Yeah, it has been not been intercepted. Yeah, why it is like that? We have to not create a bin of this, right? So in our application, Spring Boot application, if you go inside this, here it scans all the components in our base package. So since we haven't annotated with that, it hasn't known. It doesn't know that this is in our class. But so I'm gonna rerun, and I'm going to reload this user, and I'm going to get the password. Yeah, sign in. Yeah, we can see, right? Yeah, so before reaching our controller, I'll also put a breakpoint over here. And before it should be, we can't see any control over here in our stack trace. So we can see the solve request. We can see the request and save request. Here we can see the default. It is going to get movies URL, and the method is get movies. Server his name is localhost, these things, and we gonna resume this. Yeah, and now we should be able to see. Yeah, seems like there's some error in my configuration. Yeah, yeah, but this is how it does. So when now if we I'm going to comment this out, because this is not our scope. So basically what this is what it does. So whenever we implement a filter and we override these two filter class, then we can write our custom class. So since it has added some bunch of filters in username authentication filter mainly, it does the authentication logic. When we send a request, when we do the login, when we send the username and password, it does the cross checks the username and password with this password and the user. Yeah, yeah. So in this, I think that's it for this video. So in this video, what we have seen, you have created a controller. So this controller returns us a bunch of movies. So yeah, I'm going to rerun. So this controller gives us a bunch of movies. So we can see here user. And also, we since we have added Spring Security to our class both by default, it adds this login and logout page. Can go and we have seen the basic, not basic, a default Spring Security authentication, and we can also see the our controller. So yeah, so till now with respect to Spring Security, we have only seen a default login and logout page which has been added by Spring Security, and also we have understood how Spring Security does on a high level. So it creates, it configures these filters, and these filters basically does the logic. In our case, in for authentication, this is what does the logic. So yeah, this is what we learn in the next video. We are going to see in memory authentication, where we are going to store user details in the memory, and we are going to when we are going to request, uh, trigger a request from login page, it gonna cross check with the users which have been configured, and do the authentication. That's what we are going to see in the next week. Yeah, that's it for this video.